The three types of chicken rice I'm showing you today all have one thing in common: cooking rice in chicken stock. Let's start with the first. Hainanese chicken rice, a Singaporean and Malaysian dish that evolved from Wenchang chicken in Wenchang. Wenchang chicken actually doesn't refer to a specific dish. It refers to the local breed of chicken that has been on that island for at least 400 years. Even if it's stir-fried or stewed, it is still technically Wenchang chicken. But to keep things simple, let's refer Wenchang chicken to the one most like Hainanese chicken rice. Wenchang chicken has two important components. 1. The chicken must be using Wenchang chicken. 2. A special sauce made from garlic, cilantro, ginger and a local variety of calamansi. Depending on who you ask, the sauce can be said to be the main emphasis of the dish, which is completely different from the Southeast Asian version, which focus on the rice. Hainanese people call this rice you fan. Wenchang chicken is also sometimes served with only white rice. Hainanese chicken rice also received influence from the Cantonese bak chit kai, or white cut chicken, which incidentally is also the way Hainanese refer to the way they cook the chicken in Wenchang. The way to differentiate between these three is actually simple: the sauces. Other than the sauces, the three have some slight variances to talk about, but not worth eating another week of chicken rice for. Cantonese bak chit kai has a simple sauce made from scallions, ginger and oil, and unlike the two, the Southeast Asian version has about 5 sauces, though it usually served with at most 3 on the side. Before we go into the sauces, let's make the stock. Toss a few ginger slices and the top of some scallions into water to boil. While waiting for this, prepare the chicken. Disclaimer, I'm not a chef or hawker, but just a fat boy who made a lot of mistakes in this video. But let's just say that these were done for demonstration purposes. Watch the other recipes I'll link below for comparison if you need to. Generally, all chicken rice recipes, no matter which one, prefer some kind of free-range chicken. In the case of Hainanese chicken rice, certain hawkers in Singapore also have a preference for chickens at least 2 kilograms in weight. Cut off the fatty parts and the skin of the chicken, using these to make chicken fat or schmaltz. Clip off the claw nails, and guess mistake number 1, not cutting off the feet. You'll see why in a while. Rub salt all over the chicken, and when the stock is boiling, you want to hold the chicken by the neck. Or if your chicken doesn't come with a head, how do you know your chickens didn't look like this before being slaughtered? Then use chicken hooks or chopsticks to dip them into the water. The purpose is to change the water in the chicken's cavity, which will cool down as soon as it touches the chicken. This makes sure that the chicken cooks evenly. You can see the temperature change immediately from the water boiling to just simmering here. What you want is to gently poach the chicken. For home cooking, it's likely that your pot won't be large enough to completely submerge the chicken. That's why I have this footage of me shamefully cutting the chicken feet here. It's also likely that your stock won't be as flavorful since it has less chicken. Using 2 chickens or adding more chicken stock is recommended if you want a stronger chicken flavor. Anyway, the chicken breast might be poking out like this. That's completely fine. If you put on a cover, the chicken breast will be cooked by the steam. Just make sure the chicken isn't touching the bottom of the pot or the skin will tear. It's also possible to cook the chicken by turning off the heat, putting on a cover and letting residual heat do the work. As long as you let the chicken cook for about 45 minutes gently, this shouldn't matter too much. While waiting, it is a good idea to prep all the ingredients. After 45 minutes, take out the chicken carefully using poultry hooks or these freakishly huge chopsticks. Be aware of hot liquid still in the chicken cavity. Here's a wrong demonstration by using tongs which tears the skin. The method adapted from bak chit kai is to dump the chicken into an ice cold bath. Traditionally, this step uses rice wine for Cantonese bak chit kai because alcohol evaporates faster than water, and who the hell had freezers back then. This step gives the skin a gelatinous texture. But the Hainanese method is to simply let this rest by the side covered with towel. Now it's time to make the rest of the dish. Start with a low heat and slowly render out the chicken fat. If you don't have much fat, then use some oil. Just be patient and chicken fat will slowly render out. Just make sure to control the heat so this doesn't burn. You can absolutely eat these fried chicken skin or use them as garnish, or keep them in the rice. When most of the fat rendered, throw in a whole bulb of garlic and optionally more ginger slices. Then saute or stir fry that, then rice. Long grain jasmine rice is preferred. If making chicken rice balls, replace some of the rice with glutinous rice instead. Since the oil has been absorbed by the rice, transfer that to a rice cooker and fill it with chicken stock. The ratio of rice to liquid entirely depends on the shape and size of your container. So even if I give a ratio of say 1 to 1.5, this might not work for you. Watch America's Test Kitchen for the full explanation. Then turn on forget to add in the pandan leaf, which is an ingredient the original Wenchang chicken didn't have. Finally, the sauces. The sauce most similar to the original, the chili sauce. There's garlic, ginger, calamansi, chicken stock, sugar and salt, just like Wenchang's. Then there's the addition of chili and bird's eye chilies. Deseed them and use more bird's eye chilies according to your own heat tolerance. It's recommended that you use a mortar and pestle, but a blender works too. Then the kiang yong, or scallion ginger sauce from Cantonese bak chit kai. Same thing, recommended to use a mortar and pestle, but a blender kinda works. Just don't overmix it or you get a result like this paste. What you want is something like this, where it is only slightly crushed. Then get an equal amount of very hot oil and pour over the mixture. You can also use chicken fat. This cooks the ginger and scallions just enough to be fragrant and remove some of the spiciness. Sometimes if you don't see tiangyong, then you see this ginger garlic sauce. Throw everything in the blender and it's good. You can also use a grater or mortar. Our fourth sauce, the thick dark soy sauce. You either see this or the fifth, since they are both soy based. Make a syrup with about 80 ml of water and a few pieces of rock sugar. When this completely melts, add in dark soy sauce and equal amounts to the water. You can start with less and adjust to taste. Generally, how this will taste depends on how your soy sauce already tastes to begin with. You notice that different soy sauces have different sugar levels. If you're lazy to make this, it is also fine to buy one advertised as for chicken rice or use ketchup mayonnaise. And now, our fifth sauce. This sauce only started being drizzled sometime in the 1970s or 80s. Sesame oil, light soy sauce, and chicken stock, all according to taste. You can play around with other ingredients like shallot oil, Shaoxing wine or oyster sauce. Now, time to plate. The rice is already sticky since we use glutinous rice. So just use your hands and roll it around. This used to be what the Hainanese brought as picnic food while travelling to the hills for Qingming. In 2020, only 1 or 2 stalls in Singapore are left selling these. But many stalls in Malaysia still sell these. Most of us won't need the portability anyway, so let's plate the normal way. Rice, chicken, sauces, and soup. Either of the soy sauce based sauces can be drizzled directly onto the rice. If you need additional sides, you can add some nyonya acar or sliced cucumbers. Before we start the Vietnamese chicken rice, how exactly did the dish travel to the Straits? Although the Hainanese reached the Straits earliest in the 1820s, Wenchang chicken remained in homes as a dish for special occasions. Before modern farming methods, chicken was very expensive. The Hainanese found employment as cook boys, waiters, or servants in hospitality or F&B. Sometimes in European or Peranakan households. These were kind of leftover jobs they were forced to take since other dialect groups arrived earlier to take the better jobs and Hainanese was unintelligible to other Chinese communities. After World War II, European and Peranakan families moved away and the servants of those households had to become hawkers. It's said that Nam Hyong Chicken started selling chicken rice in 1938 in Kuala Lumpur, and in Singapore, Wong Yi Guan was the first to start selling the dish in 1940s. Wong was known to many as Uncle Commy, selling Commy chicken. Know that this has no negative connotation since he just gave away unsold chicken to his neighbours. The rice he sold at this time was in the form of balls, which made sense since it was portable. Anyway, his apprentice Molly Tui then opened Swee Kui Chicken Rice at Middle Road in 1949, and this stall was said to be responsible for popularizing the dish in Singapore. This stall closed in 1997 and their former workers reopened one in Johor. The current oldest stall in Singapore is Yet Con, also started in the 1940s. Note that if you dine there, you might not like the taste, since they still serve it 1940s style. This means no soy sauce and no ice bath. Cantonese started selling chicken rice around the 1960s, and that's when those Cantonese techniques started appearing. In the case of Vietnam, Hoi An became one of the busiest ports in Southeast Asia around the 16th century, and in the 18th century, considered to be one of the best for Chinese and Japanese merchants for trading. Which is why you can see Japanese architecture like this Japanese covered bridge. Many Chinese also moved to Vietnam, settling in the Quang Nam province. So, you can find chicken rice in central Vietnam for at least 200 years ago, most popularly in Tam Kỳ, Quang Nam's capital. It's said that this version is plainer compared to the one we are making today, but I'm not exactly sure in what way. Hoi An continued serving the Tam Kỳ version up until the 1990s when they started the Hoi An version. So anyway, same thing, chicken in a pot with aromatics. No need for any dunking this time. We're using 5 shallots, a few slices of ginger and half an onion. Salt, or you can use fish sauce here. Then 2 teaspoons of turmeric. I might have used a little too much here. Similar to Hainanese chicken rice, you want this to be poaching and not boiling. Skim off the scum as needed. Meanwhile, let's chop up a bunch of garlic to make a chili jam. Put a lot of oil in a pan, enough to fry garlic, then put the garlic in a medium-low heat. Once it starts bubbling, watch and adjust the flame carefully. Garlic burns easily. Once you spot some garlic turning golden brown, shut off the heat. It will continue to cook in that hot oil. Strain to get garlic oil and fried garlic. Blend some chilies. Put some of the garlic oil back in the pan with the chilies and sugar, about 3/4 the amount of chilies you put. Once the color changes a little, put back some of the fried garlic. Now you have Hoi An chili jam. Use the rest of the garlic oil to fry ginger and rice. Then put this into a rice cooker. Make sure at least 30 minutes have passed since stock has been going and use that chicken stock to cook your rice. Take out the chicken to cool. It doesn't matter if you tear the skin here because you'll be shredding the chicken anyway to make a salad. with carrots, green or unripe papaya, and onions cut into strips or julienne. Here's a cool trick to julienne papaya. Shred the chicken, put in your vegetables, add salt, sugar and pepper to taste, put in some of the chili jam, more fried garlic, and a key ingredient, Vietnamese mint or laksa leaf. Mix them all together and add lime to taste. Serve this with rice, soup, salad, a bit of meat, and more chili jam. You may notice that the plate looks a bit empty, and that's because this is the tourist-friendly version of this dish. In Hoi An, you'll also find a sauce made from chicken innards. Now, for the French version. Nothing to do with Wenchang chicken this time, but it's also made from the chicken stock. Okay, but really, this dish is really similar to Hainanese chicken rice, but with an emphasis on concentrating all of that stock into a sauce. You'll find many French recipes online with the name poulet or poulet au riz sauce supreme, meaning chicken with rice and supreme sauce. This dish isn't exactly a dish, but several recipes from Escoffier. Make 2 bouquet garnis with leek, a sprig of thyme, bay leaf and some parsley stalks. Throw one into a pot along with mirepoix, or carrots, celery and onions. I'm using half an onion for the stock and the other half for the rice. Chop some mushrooms. Bottoms go into the stock, while the tops are used to make a mushroom essence. Stuff the other bouquet garni into the chicken. Salt. Then fill the pot with water as we did before. Again, poach the chicken, not boil. In a separate pot, make a roux for the supreme sauce. Same weight of butter and flour, about 30 grams. Add in the flour when the butter fully melts, then start whisking until it comes together. Let this chill by the side. You want this cold when making the sauce. Mushroom essence, just fill with some water, butter and salt, that's all. Let this simmer for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, mushroom essence been heavily reduced. Let the mushroom essence chill together with the roux. Time to take everything out of the chicken stock. Put them by the side somewhere. Flame up. Gonna reduce the stock to a few ladles. Meanwhile, we can make the rice. That means more butter. Sauté the other half of the onion, then sauté the rice. Short grain rice tends to be preferred, although it doesn't really matter. You can cook this in an oven like it's a pilaf, but rice cooker. Add a sprig of thyme or bouquet garni if you want. Season the stock. Another half hour pass. This is the liquid level after. Time to make the supreme sauce. Hot stock into a cold roux. Heat is off. Keep adding stock and whisk. Mushroom essence in. Don't put everything in like I did down here, or else it will taste like a mushroom sauce and not a chicken sauce. Turn on the heat now and continue whisking. This is basically going to continue until you reduce that entire pot of chicken stock into just a sauce. Sauce is now thick enough to coat a spoon. About 2 tablespoons of cream in. Back to whisking. And some nutmeg. It's time to serve. Believe it or not, this is where you're supposed to add more butter to the rice, but I still want to be alive after making this video, so I didn't. Garnish with more pepper and parsley, not dill as I did here.